Hello and welcome to whatever the heck this is. I don't know that we have a name for it, but it's something I've been wanting to do. I read these articles, and they're just mind-blowingly ignorant or skewed, biased, stupid, whatever you want to put it. And so today I want to share one of the articles I read this morning. I like to get up pretty early, and, I like to start my day off with comedy, right? And some people go to, like, Netflix, for some of the comedy specials. I prefer to go to MSNBC and CNN.
Yep.
So today we have an article. It's an opinion piece in MSNBC by their host of a show called The Weekend, Mr. Michael Steele. Now, for a lot of you, you may not know who Michael Steele is, but he used to be the head of the Republican National Committee, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. And this is titled, Dear Chuck Schumer, the Old Republican Party is Never Coming Back. And the subtitle is, Democrats keep assuming the fever will break, but it's getting higher. So I'm just going to read parts of it, and I'm going to ask Nathaniel here for his thoughts and opinions, and I'll share some of mine, right? So let's start off. The summer will mark 10 years since Donald Trump first descended the escalator at Trump Tower to announce his candidacy for President of the United States. Now, 2 months into his second term, it's becoming painfully clear that many of the people best positioned to push back against his agenda still haven't accepted how much the world has changed. The latest example came from Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer in, quote, Madhouse, an upcoming book from Annie Carney and Luke Broadwater of the New York Times, which revealed a 2023 exchange in which he said Trump was an aberration. Quote, here's my hope. This is from Chuck Schumer. This is Chuck Schumer according to the book. Quote, here's my hope. After this election, when the Republican Party expels the turd of Donald Trump, it will go back to being the old Republican Party, he said, according to the book. Now, first off, let's just, I love the party of the high road, the moral superiority. Yeah. Just called a guy that half-ish of the voting electorate had elected, a turd, right? But yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, he says that, and like you said, I believe it was like 49.9% of the country voted for Trump. But
this is the first go around. This is 2016.
2016.
This is after the 2016 election when he said this.
Okay, so he said that.
Yeah, and he's being quoted in this book that's about to come out. Oh, and actually, I guess he said that he said this was a 2023 exchange.
Oh, so that happened in 2023?
Yeah, so after the first election, which is weird. So it says, which revealed a 2023 exchange in which so I don't know if the quote.
So the quote was probably after 2016, I assume.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's got to be. Because I was going to say, if he's saying that now, then he's
an idiot.
Kind of crazy.
I mean, we know he's an idiot, but.
Because we have data showing like the support of Trump within the Republican Party.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense being 2016.
Yeah, right?
Since it's a little bit more unknown, I guess.
Yeah. Now, Michael Steele says there's a lot of things wrong with this quote other than its needlessly vivid imagery. I don't know. I love vivid imagery.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we'll get it. All right. Michael Steele says, I remember the old Republican Party well. I was its chairman in 2009, shortly after the transformative victory of President Barack Obama and Democrat dominance in both chambers of Congress. The late Senator John McCain had been the party's nominee in 2008, and then Governor Mitt Romney would be its nominee in the next cycle. Anything about that paragraph just strike you as absolutely nuts? Maybe not yet.
Not quite yet, but
not quite yet.
Those aren't really characters that nowadays we look back super fondly of.
Yeah, why don't we?
I mean, to me, the biggest thing is like, I don't know. It's a little hard for me to speak on it because
you weren't
especially
you were a young buck.
when McCain. I remember when McCain was running, I would have been pretty young, probably like 11 years old or so.
Okay, yeah.
But I still remember it, but I didn't know what the hell was going
Gotcha.
on. And even Mitt Romney, I was like old enough to know what's going on, but at the same time, I was like too immature to even care.
Yeah.
But I think, at least what I can notice from Trump, I've been following Trump for a few elections now.
Yeah.
I think the number one thing that people like about him is that obviously the left hates it, but he really like fights for what we believe in.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's the core principle as to why he's so popular, and also why he's so unpopular, because he fights so hard for what we believe in. And obviously, by definition, the left believes in pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
And so therefore, there's going to be a lot of friction.
Yeah, of course. Right now, I got a question for you. When you think of movies that show statesmen, right?
Yeah.
You think of the Roman Empire and the Senate, right? You think of any of these movies that go throughout time and they show these politicians. Are they ever presented in a positive light?
No.
What are they always presented as?
Corrupt, kind of evil.
Corrupt, backstabbing, always running their little machinations in the background, right? Subterfuge, right? Dishonesty, disloyalty, shoving a knife in your back, right? Caesar, right?
Yeah.
So why is it that the Democrat Party, loves to tout he's a statesman, right? When you look at Mitt Romney and John McCain, and I think of the question that was posed to Joe Biden after the funeral of Jimmy Carter. Some jackass reporter asked Joe Biden, what is one thing Donald Trump could take away from Jimmy Carter? And what was that? Do you remember what that reporter's response was? Joe Biden's response
something
was?
Like kindness, something like that, or
Decency.
Yeah.
Decency. Yeah. And I remember at the time, and I even posted this to Facebook, that was the most asinine possible response I could possibly imagine. Because I just sit here and I look at, at the time, who was running Iran? Assad. Who's running, that was Syria.
Yeah.
Who's running Iran? The Ayatollah. Who's running North Korea? One of Kim Jong-un, whatever, one of the Kim Jong-uns.
Yeah.
Right? Who's running Russia? Putin. Right? Who's running China? Xi. Right? Somebody that has a million Uyghurs, or I don't even know how to say that word, whatever, those groups of people that are the minority over in China in labor concentration camps. Is any one of these people who you would call decent?
Definitely not.
Definitely not, right? Even our friends, our allies, like the EU, were convicted a year ago in the World Court of running unfair trade practices against the U.S. Are they decent? Our own friends, right, are using us, are manipulating us, are stealing from us. The enemy is much, much worse. And you think the best characteristic that a U.S. president could exhibit is decency. And I loved it when Democrats, loved to go back to Mitt Romney and Senator John McCain as statesmen. These were the good old days of the Republican Party. Yeah, a bunch of spineless twits who preferred to compromise versus look bad. And there's two great examples of this. One is the debates between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. Mitt Romney trounced Barack Obama in the first debate, just annihilated him. And the media ran all these stories about how bad it was that Mitt Romney had done that. And Mitt Romney came out the second and third debates a very different man, and he got his ass handed to him. Because Mitt Romney made the decision that it was better to lose than to win. Because the person you're beating is not allowed to be beat. I mean, really, that's what it came down to in my mind and what I saw. And then you had another case where Harry Reid, the senior senator from Nevada for the Democrats, stood on the floor of the Senate, and he accused Mitt Romney of being a tax cheat. Said that he had unnamed sources, that Mitt Romney hadn't paid his taxes in 10 years. Now, there is no person that's ever run for president that probably personifies like right better than Mitt Romney. There was no, I mean, they tried. Well, that was amazing to me, is that they tried to make Mitt Romney out to be Donald Trump. They said he was sexist because he made a comment about how he had binders full of women, because he was talking about when hiring, he actually went to this stack of resumes from women first, but because he had them in a binder and he said binders of women, that was sexist. He hated animals because he told a story about as a kid going on a family vacation, they put the dog kennel on top of their family station wagon. He was a horrible business person because he shut down a factory somewhere and people lost their health insurance. And they trotted some guy out whose wife died of cancer. And of course, it wasn't the cancer that killed her. It was the loss of medical benefits because Mitt Romney had shut the plant down when he was running Bain Capital and building Staples, Domino's, I think Academy Sports, things like that. right? So literally everything they could possibly make Mitt Romney out to be is what they've made Trump out to be, right? But Mitt Romney had no scandals, no strippers in his past, no grabbing women by their private parts, none of these things. And they still tried to make him out to be that way. They even tried to make him out to be a tax cheat. And later on, when Harry Reid was asked if he regretted making that statement on the Senate floor about Mitt Romney, his response was, well, he didn't win, did he? This is the moral superiority high ground party, right?
Yeah.
And you had people like Mitt Romney and McCain who basically were willing to lose all the time, right? While their enemy was willing to lie about them, was willing to cheat, was willing to steal, was willing to do anything it took to win. I mean, Harry Reid in that same interview was asked if there was ever a line that he had come across that he wasn't willing to cross. And he told that reporter dead nuts to their face, if there is one, I have not seen it yet. That is the enemy you're up against. And we kept putting the Mitt Romneys and the McCains and the Bushes up against them. And people are surprised that we're all behind Trump.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Gotta have a fighter. And like I was making kind of the analogy the other day to a friend. It's kind of like politics is very similar to sports. You got two teams, you got two sets of fans, but even like in the game, the players, like, they're gonna be, feisty, and sometimes you just play dirty. And shit, like, sometimes you got to match the other team.
No, and that's what I loved about Donald Trump is I saw for the first time somebody who I don't believe is a conservative and I don't believe is a Republican. I saw a guy who was finally willing to play their game by their rules. And that's what I loved about Trump. It was like finally, it's like I grew up as a nerd and just watched people bully. I felt like I was bullied all the time. And it was like I saw in Donald Trump the bully who sometimes takes one nerd under their wing and kind of protects them. And I saw Donald Trump as our bully. And he took America under its wing. And he's like defended America, right? So Michael Steele goes on. He says, the old Republican Party is gone. It sold its soul to Trump in return for 2 presidencies and 3 Supreme Court seats. Like, is that really what it was? Was that the point? Was the point to get 3 Supreme Court seats? No. What was the point? What did those 3 Supreme Court seats enable us to do? Anything? Anything of value? Yeah, we ended abortion at a federal level, which was a total bullshit, bogus, literally the Supreme Court ruling that gave you the right to abortion at a federal level. The Supreme Court justices actually wrote within it that within the penumbra of the text was your right to abortion. And that word means within the shadows of text. They're literally just fucking making it up out of thin air, and it stands for 50 years.
Yeah. And that like after like reading like the 14th Amendment itself and the reasoning behind why Roe v. Wade went into effect, it's like not surprising that eventually it was going to be overturned.
Of course.
Because like you could use the exact same like arguments
to make up any rule you want.
Well, exactly. And to take away that same rule.
Yeah, of course. Of course, when things aren't done correctly, they can be undone just as incorrectly.
And then, who knows? Like, things will change this time 10, 20, 30 years down the road. There's going to be...
Yeah, they'll make some other shit up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it's going to be, but...
But I think it's funny. This guy was the head of the Republican Party. He says that we sold our soul to Trump in return for 2 presidents and 3 Supreme Court seats. No, that's not what we sold our soul for. We sold our soul to rebuild the middle class, to bring jobs back, to end globalism, to end America being the bitch of every other country, to end endless wars. The Nobel Prize winning president, Barack Obama, took us from 2 conflicts in the world to 7. That's insane. And he got a Nobel Prize. For what? Really? He was also the first sitting U.S. president to authorize the assassination of a U.S.-born minor, a 17-year-old born in Colorado. And his press secretary, when asked about it, said the kid should have had a better father. That's the callousness with which they terminated the life of a 17-year-old citizen. Neither his father nor him ever were given a trial. And they were killed in Lebanon, where we were not at war. But give him a Nobel Prize, right? Like it's just mind blowing to me that this guy thinks that the point was 2 presidencies and 3 Supreme Court seats.
Yeah.
We brought illegal immigration down to its lowest levels ever and just did it again.
Massively, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Trump engaged in 2018 in a trade war with China and crushed them. Like, that's what if you want to say we sold our soul to Trump, that's what we sold it for, and we got it. And we got it in spades. The list of shit that Trump has accomplished, his first term was insane. It was wild. And it's all those things that this guy's conveniently leaving out. So then he goes, where else here? So, yeah. I think those are like the main points out of it that I just couldn't believe. Well, and then he wants to say this, but the truth is Republicans capitulate even when it's not necessary. Far too many of today's Republicans are unwilling to call out Trump's shady dealings with Russia. Shady dealings with Russia. We're still on Russia.
I still don't understand like what's going on there. And like I've tried doing my own research. I still like can't figure out like what. Yeah.
Right. Like Trump isn't the president who allowed Russia to take Crimea. That was Obama. Trump isn't the president who allowed Russia to invade the Ukraine. That was Obama's VP, Joe Biden. None of these things were done under Trump. What shady dealings are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Then he goes on to say, or heed warnings about the perils of relying too heavily on tariffs. Well, I mean, he instituted the single largest tariff package ever on China in 2018. Where were the perils? What perils came about because of that? There was no inflation as a result of it. Our economy didn't suffer because of it. China capitulated and signed a trade package that was so lopsided that most economists didn't even believe that they had the ability to fulfill it. Now, don't get me wrong, they struck back by coordinating COVID attack with Fauci. So I think that's really why they did it.
It's fair enough.
That's speculation. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Or stand with law enforcement over pro-terrorist extremists, right? So, and that one I find pretty interesting because I'm very much against the pardons that were issued to people that committed violence on that day. I also don't think the majority of people were treated fairly by the system. All right. And I also find it to be wildly hypocritical in the face of what we had just gone through with 19 different people being murdered over the summer due to BLM rioting and cities being burnt and jackasses on MSNBC and CNN standing in front of cities that were literally engulfed in flames talking about how it's mostly peaceful. And then you want to take your mostly peaceful rioting where 19 people are killed and you're going to go to January 6th and you're going to call it an insurrection. Not a single conservative fired a firearm. The one person shot and killed was an unarmed Air Force veteran who was unarmed. I mean, I don't know what your definition of insurrection is.
Yeah, it's the insurrection thing was definitely was and definitely is a stretch.
It's an insane stretch.
Big time.
And then I love too, it's like 5 of the police officers, 1 died a day later of a stroke. 1 committed suicide, I think, within a short period of time after that. And then 3 others committed suicide at some point later on down the road. Well, and I'm willing to like give you that the stroke and the first suicide could have been a result of what happened that day. And that's why I don't think the people that committed violence against the cop should have been pardoned.
Yeah.
I do think the punishment should fit the crime though. I don't think it was fair that like they got like the most crazy book thrown at them. And when we let everybody else off the hook, I don't think there's a single person like still in jail from the BLM riots and the 19 people that were killed.
Yeah.
And so I think justice is supposed to be fair to some extent. And I don't think just because you're a jackass public servant, so politician, statesman, somebody should be prosecuted more than if they did it to an average citizen.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I take a pretty similar view. Just people who violent to probably deserve to serve that time, but the vast majority that were not violent, 100% should be free.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Especially, I mean, we're 5 years later, so those pardons came over 5 years later.
Yeah, they spent time.
Yeah,
they spent time. They had their lives ruined.
That's
right?
that's kind of the point of the pardon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like instead of like preemptive pardons, like it's just
yeah. The other guy's issuing preemptive pardons, and he's not even the one doing them. But that's a whole other story. So Michael Steele goes on to say, another reason the Republican Party I once led is never seen a revival. Republican voters don't want to revive it. Yeah, no fucking shit, you jackass. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
In fact, MAGA officials repeatedly raced to outdo each other's depravity because they know today's Republican voters will reward them for it. Here's his example of this. South Carolina Rep. Nancy Mace, who once envisioned a Republican Party that carved out space for LGBTQ plus rights, now fundraises on a bizarre obsession with trans people's bathroom habits.
That seems pretty critical.
Yeah. Like, again, all you're showing through your language is how desperate you are to be loved by the left, right? Because not wanting men in a bathroom with your daughter is by no means, never in the history of the world has that been bizarre.
Never. And I still think this applies to the whole sports conversation too, but it's like the conversation about how it's like so few people across the country, but it should be zero tolerance policy there.
Yeah, you think?
Whether it's sports or bathrooms and stuff, it's like what kind of clown world are we even in that it's 2025 and we're debating whether like someone with a cock should go into a female bathroom? Like not even like some of these people, or like in sports too. It's like I'm not saying all, but like not to get too like graphic, but some of these people like haven't even like fully transitioned.
Yeah.
Like I know we were talking about Leah Thomas the other day, but like it just like that's absurd to me, especially for the purposes of the bathrooms.
Yeah.
It's like if you like the sign should say like, if you have a cock, like you're not using this one. If you got a cock, you can use this one.
I think we need to go over to chromosomes. If these chromosomes, you go to this bathroom. These chromosomes, you go to the other. It's like literally, let's just get down to the base core. Everybody wants to say gender's a social construct. No, it isn't. It's based off your fucking chromosomes.
Yeah. But yeah, like for sure, like zero tolerance. So like just the fact that he's like saying
a bizarre obsession. No. And the other thing that I find amazing is it's weird to me how groups allow other minority groups to hijack their movement, right? Like a lot of women are desperate to defend men who decided one day that they're a woman and give them everything that women have fought for in regards to rights in athletics and privacy and all the rest of this, right? And they're hell-bent on allowing these men to take that space from them. I mean, Time Magazine put a fucking dude on the cover of it as the Woman of the Year. Like, and there's a lot of women that applauded that, right? Like, so you're telling me we're better than you at literally everything, apparently, even being you.
It's pretty messed up.
I can't think of something more messed up. And it's also, why do I have to, why can I support every person's right to do what they want to do up until the point to where it negatively impacts someone else's rights. So I don't have a problem. You want to dress up as a woman? I support you all day. I don't think I should have to be forced to call you a woman, but I don't give a shit what you dress as. I don't give a shit what you identify as. I'm not going to not hire you because you're a guy that dresses up as a woman.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't be forced to lie to you. I should be forced to play your game, right? Yeah. And I shouldn't be forced to allow you into a bathroom with my daughters, right? That's you're going past the point. I don't have to do that in order to support your right, for one thing, right? I mean that's like the whole. It's like the evolution. It's like it's just constantly. You can't just go from being okay with something and allowing somebody to do something. You now have to force it. You have to allow it to be forced into or onto you, right? And it's like, yeah, no. So, it's like, yeah, the woman obviously is a ally of the LGBTQ community. She just doesn't think men should be in women's bathrooms. But no, now you have to throw out she can't be recognized as being for the LGBTQ community unless she's for men going into women's bathrooms. When did that become the fucking standard?
Is Nancy Mace that he's talking about?
Nancy Mace. Yeah, he's trashing Nancy Mace, saying that she fundraises on a bizarre obsession with trans people's bathroom habits. No, you fucking ass. She's an ally of the LGBTQ plus community. She just draws the line at men going into women's bathrooms and playing on women's sports teams.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Why can't that be good enough for you?
Yeah. I mean, maybe because I share similar views to Nancy Mace, but it doesn't seem all too bizarre to me. And like I know, I think it was in maybe Oregon or Portland or something like that, but there's like another male and like a female track sports. Just the other day, probably Wednesday, but had won like the 400 meter by like 7 seconds. And so like this person had got like, I don't know, something like 57 seconds and 400 meter. And then second place was 1 minute and 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, yeah, I understand it's like a super small percentage of people, like super small, like a fraction of a percent.
Yeah.
But it's like how
outsized impact.
But like if someone's like, if it's like that small of an impact or that small of a group, then how are they setting, like beating?
Look, I got a question for you. How many people does it take to hold the record in anything? One.
Yeah.
How many people does it take in the state of Kansas to hold a record? One.
Yeah. Anywhere nationally.
It's one. It's fucking one.
Yeah.
So all you need is one guy in each one of these things.
And eventually it's going to happen.
All records are all now men.
Yeah. And eventually it's going to happen. And how many times do you hear the other flip side, like a female transitioning to a man and having success in sports?
Never.
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know.
If there's really no advantage, then why doesn't that happen?
Yeah. Ever. And like
Ever.
You don't even hear about it at all because
that seems really weird to me.
Yeah.
But there's no advantage. Oh, but it just doesn't happen the other direction. Yeah. They're just nuts.
Well, I think a lot of people do see there is an advantage, but they value inclusivity over
over truth. Right?
So.
Now, here's another good one, because I actually agree with this. He says, far-right Georgia Rep Majority Taylor Greene, once considered a fringe conspiracy theorist by people with multiple brain cells, is now one of the party's leading political figures in the top congressional fundraiser in her state. Now, I've heard a lot of crazy shit come out of her mouth, but here's the deal. Until you remove Representative Hank Johnson from Georgia, you can fuck off. Just Google Hank Johnson and Guam, and you're going to get to watch this guy interrogate a 4-star Navy admiral for 10 minutes over the size of Guam. Why?
I think I know why, but I'll let you.
Because Hank Johnson's point is that by putting like 6,000 to 10,000 more soldiers and their families on one end of Guam, he's going to capsize the island. Yeah. All right? Forget conspiracy theories. How about you're just stupid as shit? You are so stupid. You think Guam, an island, the top of a mountain attached to the bottom of the ocean, is going to capsize and flip over.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And you reelect him year after year after year. So you know what? We have two idiots. You got Hank Johnson. We got Marjorie Greene. How about we put them in a cage and let them fight each other out?
And did Michael Steele say that Marjorie Greene was one of the top Republicans?
He said she is the top congressional fundraiser in her state.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like how many? I was going to say how many
Republicans are fundraising in the state?
They can't have that many representatives.
No, I mean, holy shit.
This is in California, or state with a big population.
Yeah, it's Georgia.
Georgia's got
Georgia's got Hank Johnson and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Apparently, there's something in the fucking water in Georgia.
Yeah, because Georgia's got probably like.
So we got a wacky conspiracy theorist, and you guys got somebody that doesn't understand how fucking islands work.
Yeah. And so what's his reasoning for even bringing up MTG or like?
He's because what he's saying is that the Republican Party will never have a revival because we don't want to revive it because MAGA officials repeatedly race to outdo each other's depravity because they know they'll be rewarded for it. And he's just pointing out that Nancy Mace has a bizarre obsession with trans people, and Georgia Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene is a conspiracy theorist and says dumb shit, which she does.
Yeah. And just like people on both sides of the aisle say stupid
Dumb shit. Yeah. I mean,
or on our side of the aisle, he can't even say anything. Not Chuck Schumer. What's his face? The old guy. Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody thinks that, anybody actually likes Mitch McConnell, ridiculous.
Yeah. Although I think he's pulled off some baller ass moves, but they're very like they're the kind of moves I can't stand, but he's really good at them.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like I'm talking crap on him, but like he actually votes like alongside better with Trump than several other people.
Yeah. No,
and so I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit.
Shit.
I'm just giving. I say to give him shit because like I think
he's just been in forever. And
he's got to get the hell out. But like he's actually not as bad as I'm giving him shit for.
Yeah. Yeah. So then he ends it with, he goes, and there's Trump, whose criminal indictments and even convictions became a cause célèbre in his highest fundraising days of the 2024 campaign. What should that tell you? It's obvious to half the nation.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Right? Like, do you honestly think that I can't take Barack Obama, charge him with some shit in the middle of Missouri and not convict him? Or Texas? Or Florida?
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
When a jury of your peers or these judges and stuff like that.
Let me just go put him in front of a right-wing judge inside of a deep red state, and I got news for you. We're convicting him.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know those couple of those big fundraising days, and then also that first assassination attempt had a big fundraising day as well.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty much all those big events that theoretically should have been really bad ended up being his best days.
Absolutely, because it's like, it's obvious you're trying to, it's the new term lawfare, right? It's obvious to everybody on one side, the side that doesn't just hate the guy, that what you're doing is just bullshit. I mean, you literally had a trial where there was no victims, and all the banks said they couldn't figure out anything that was done wrong, and they all made money, and they were all happy. And you convicted him of 37 accounts or some shit in a trial with no victim.
Yeah, I think it was like 34, but yeah.
34.
Something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe.
No, it was in the 30s. It was in the 30s. Yeah. There was no victim, and every person that testified said they didn't know what the fuck they were doing there. And somehow, you're not politically motivated. You had to create novel concepts that had never been tried, never been used. You stated you were going to get them on your election campaign. I mean, the shit's blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Right? And the fact that somebody who used to run the Republican Party, like he is, like this article and this guy, Michael Steele, is the exact reason Trump exists. The Mitt Romneys, the John McCains, the Michael Steeles, we've had enough of all of you. We've had enough of losing year after year, watching an agenda get marched forward while our leadership was completely inept and had no ability to stop it.
Yeah.
Do you think anybody other than Trump could have got those three nominees through? And wasn't it Mitch McConnell that helped him with that?
Yeah. I think so.
Because Mitch McConnell didn't allow Garland to get appointed. Was it Mitch that stopped that?
I believe so, yeah. So that's the reason why I say, Mitch has actually done some good stuff and has almost, exclusively, sided with Trump with a lot of his votes. So, I still think he's way too old, though.
Yeah. So he goes, the old Republican Party is not coming back. Those bridges have been burned by Republicans. The sooner Schumer and those Republicans interested in the reemergence of traditional Republicanism understand this reality, the sooner we move on from Trumpism. But sitting back and waiting for the GOP to expel Trump won't change a thing. Do you have any message for Michael Steele there, Nathaniel?
Well, I would just say that I can't imagine we're going to go back. This is like an evolution of the Republican Party. And clearly he has fond memories of his old school Republican Party because this is a guy who was not too long ago a pretty senior leader within the Republican Party. Yeah. And now he works for MSNBC.
How you have fallen.
Yeah, so that goes to show what
And now you're a whiny bitch.
And that's someone who like has fond memories of the old Republican Party.
Yeah. When he meant something.
Probably not a good representation of like how people in today's Republican Party feel. Like if you're going from one side of the aisle to the other side, and now you're on MSNBC and writing articles like this. I'm not saying he can't do that. That's his own right to do it. But I'm just saying all his hopes and dreams of what the Republican Party is going to be after 2028, after the next election. Yeah. They're not going to happen.
No, because you know what? We didn't just burn those bridges. If we could have, we would have burnt them with you on it.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Don't ever come back. Stay on MSNBC.
Yeah, he's got a good thing going for him. Like I'm sure he's making good money now.
Yeah.
But like he's going to be wrong about that. Like they're never. It's never going back. I mean, Trump won't be president anymore after the next 3.5 years, but that movement is all the same. It's gonna be there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Like there is a powerful thing that has been created. It was literally forged by Trump at massive personal expense to himself and to his family.
Yep.
And I promise Michael Steele and all the shitty ass fake Republicans and Democrats that we will never allow to go back, because that would mean an immense amount of ingratitude displayed towards somebody who at a huge personal expense to himself and to his family. And then the people around him, like, you'll notice I'm wearing my Tesla hat today, are also getting beat up and trashed. And so that was one thing I love. I decided I'm wearing my Tesla hat for a while because I find it very comical that there are people spray painting swastikas all over the place and burning electric vehicles. And they're the people that purport to be pro-electric vehicles and anti-Nazis. They're literally covering everything in the swastika. They're burning the electric vehicles. It's I don't even know what to call that.
Yeah, I was telling Aiden earlier that like I went my whole life without any like real life Nazism, swastikas, any of this stuff, and then now I'm almost 28 years old, and then now for the first time ever I'm starting to see it.
Yes,
and they're just claiming that Elon's a Nazi and that several other basically a lot of the Republican Party is Nazis. I'm like, well, where has this been all along?
Yeah. And so here you go. You have a group of people. They're spray painting Nazis on things, the Nazi symbol on things, the swastika. They are burning electric cars, and they're getting rid of their Teslas to go buy what? Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes, BMW. Am I the only one? Am I the only one going?
I don't think I've never really thought about it like that, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Anybody tell you who started Volkswagen?
Yeah, there's a little something.
The company that owns Bugatti, Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen. I wonder who it was. Yeah. I think his symbol was the one you're liking to fucking spray paint on Teslas. But hey, you keep doing you.
That's crazy.
This shit's just amazing.
Yeah, that's comical. I know. Yeah, it's not really something I thought of. But
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody should tell them.
Yeah, like if you're gonna sell your Tesla, you at least got to get like a Chevy.
The single most American-made car.
Oh yeah,
the single most American-made vehicle, Tesla. The car that's doing more to reduce emissions than any other vehicle. You're going to light that one on fire and spray paint the swastika on it and then go buy your Nazi mobile.
Makes a lot of sense.
A friend of mine had this bumper sticker that said, "You can't fix stupid."
Definitely can. So they're on to something.
So anyways, that's that for, giving you a little bit of thought-provoking insight from Mr. Michael Steele. All I can say is I hope MSNBC is glad they got him, and you can keep him.
Yeah, they can have him. It's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Please take him, and please, I think what we should do is submit a list of a lot more that MSNBC.
Yeah, a talent list that they can do.
Yeah. Just here, take them all.
Yeah,
take them all.
I agree.
Get the fuck out of here. All right. Well, Till next time.
Till next time.
See you guys.